Hey guys, I've got a pretty cool tutorial for you guys today. So I found a workflow to take existing textures, screenshot them and show it to AI and ask AI to basically make a PSX or a stylized or whatever you'd like image or a flat image of whatever, or texture, sorry, of whatever you're showing it, the reference image. And then you will ask it to generate more and more textures, and sometimes, or usually, the textures won't be the same sharpness, won't be the same style, the same quality, yada 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 yada. And I've basically figured out a prompt that you can give ChatGPT that will basically analyze one texture that you attach and then adjust a second texture that you've attached to have the same kind of sharpness and style, etc. I had to go ahead and downscale them a bit in Unreal because I'm using something like a classic lighting setup which doesn't allow me to use anti-aliasing, and from far away these textures look kind of shit. Especially from all the way back here. And especially when you're playing the game. Like, look at that. Look at the difference between not downscaled and downscaled. Looks way better downscaled from further away. I'll also be showing you guys a couple things you can do in your material blueprints that adds stuff like brightness control, rotation, all the way 360, a color tint, a scrolling speed, which is handy if you want to have like a water texture on the ground moving, or like a fog texture or something like that. Also, we've got tiling control. So for example, on this floor right here, I'm using tiling. This is just one big plane, and then it's using one texture with tiling control. And that's pretty much it. So let's get into it, shall we? So we'll be using this asset pack for the tutorial today. This is a free asset pack on the Fab Marketplace. I'll link it in the description if you want to follow along with this one. Go ahead and add it to one of your projects. I already did that. Then I'll be using this tutorial project. I use another one. So let's go into the map of the level real quick. Dungeon demo, I'm guessing. Go ahead and let stuff load in real quick. Alright, so we're probably gonna want to go ahead and disable the post-processing volume over there. And let's maybe start with this floor, for example. So we're probably gonna want to add in a directional light or something of some sort. Or there's some light out here actually. Doesn't really work. Alright, so add in a directional light, and let's go ahead and maybe do something like this so we can kind of correct the perspective a little bit. Change the rotation snapping. So it kind of looks a little bit more flat. Then let's take a screenshot of this. Try to make it a little bit centered. It doesn't need to be 100% correct. You can use this grid down here to kind of align it. Then let's go in Paint, paste it in, and go ahead and copy the part of the texture that you would like to generate a stylized texture of. Let's just go with like this, for example. Then we'll go ahead to and head over to ChatGPT. I have ChatGPT Plus. I think you could do this for free like 5 times a day on an account. But anyways, so let's paste it in and go, hey, could you please generate me a PSX style texture similar to this image attached. Let's also add a seamless and go ahead and ask it, and let's see what it does. Sometimes it won't be 100% seamless from the start, and you could ask it to fix it, or you could try to fix it manually. Alright, so these are both pretty nice. This one's a little bit more pixelated than this one. Let's go ahead and go with the higher quality one, since we will be downscaling it anyways later inside of Unreal. So I guess it'll be better to start with the highest quality one. Now, let's try and find another texture that we could use. Let's grab this wall now, for example. Let's turn rotation snapping back on. I've made my mouse a lot bigger because I've realized in other tutorials that it looks really small because I'm using a 4K monitor downscaled at 1080p in OBS. So I've increased my mouse size by quite a lot. Should make it a bit easier for you guys to see. Let's go ahead and screenshot that, put it into Paint. Start that. Sort of get it right. Now let's go back to ChatGPT, paste it in, and ask the same question, but could you please generate me a let's do this. From this image attached, similar to the other texture you just made, please. And most likely it'll generate something different right now, which it was doing for me for like everything I asked it. And then usually I was asking it like, oh no, could you make it look more like this? Make it look more like this. And then somehow I found the prompt and it started analyzing the image. Well, it looks like it is actually doing a pretty good job right now. It doesn't really look like it's the same sharpness though, so I could ask it that. So anyways, kept asking it, it kept making me new textures that didn't look exactly the same. And then what I did was I went over here and copied it. And in my response, I went, hey, I have an issue. I really like the sharpness, brightness, and color of the first image attached. Could you please analyze it? I'm typing that wrong again, I think. Please analyze it and make the second image attached have the same sharpness, brightness, and color, please. And I said please twice, I've realized now. And then let's ask it this, and then hopefully it'll analyze the image, because sometimes it still tries to make a new image. And it is making a new image, so hold on. So let's type you're making a new image. Please just analyze first image attached and edit the second one according. Don't make a new image. And then let's attach both of them again. Alright, there we go. Now it's analyzing the first image, and it should do a way better job of making the second one look similar. It said it failed, but I think it should have worked anyways. Alright, so it didn't really do a good job. So let's try to ask it a second time. Make it the same style and pixel nation and don't make a new image. Let's go ahead and ask it again. Alright, so it kind of did it there. As you can see, it incorporated this stuff in there more, but I didn't have this last time, but it seems like it's including some like pixels in there anyways. So let me show you how you could fix that. Well, not Photoshop actually. Let me show you real quick. So you could go to a website called Photopea. Which is pretty much Photoshop for free online. So let's go ahead and open up our file that we just got adjusted. Come over to the clone stamp. Zoom in a little bit. Increase the size just a tiny bit. And then what you could do is basically like kind of fix it by painting over with the same kind of texture with the clone stamp and going all the way around like this, for example. And then it's kind of hard with my mouse being so big right now for the tutorial, but you could even clone stamp this right here and make a line like that to fix it. Anyways, you kind of get the workflow. This is pretty much how I got all of these textures to look the same. I can show you actually. There's some textures here, like all of these, it all generated like with different sharpness, different colors, etc. And I basically fed it to ChatGPT, and it basically adjusted all of them to kind of have more or less the same sharpness. And I think they look pretty good. So now I'll be showing you guys how to add all of the stuff to your material to control the tiling and the brightness, the color, the everything, yada yada yada. Actually, I think it would be kind of cool to show you guys like a water texture and make it scroll. So let's go back to ChatGPT and ask it, could you please generate me a PSX style seamless water texture? And let's see what it can do. That is pretty cool. I like that a lot, but I don't really think that's 100% seamless. And I don't really like the blocky stuff in there, so let's ask it, could you generate it without the blockiness in it? The differing blockiness? I don't know how else to describe it. And make it more seamless, please. You could always ask it and it will try to fix it for you. Of course, if you don't have plus, it might be kind of annoying if you run out of requests before it generates your texture. Nice. Still not 100% seamless, and it's kind of putting like a stone texture in there. But let's just use this for an example for now. And then you pretty much get it. This is, if you want to generate your textures like this is a lot of trial and error, but I have gotten some pretty good results out of it, if I do say so myself. This tower atlas is also from generated textures. I quite like it. So save that texture. Downloads. So let's just import it right there. Let's just right click, make a material. Then let's go ahead and open it up. Let's change the blend mode to masked to give it more of a retro look. This won't give any reflections or anything like that. Then first let's start with the simple stuff. Go ahead and add in a constant by holding 1 and doing a left click. Convert it to a parameter. Let's call this brightness. Just put a default value of 1. Then add in a multiply node. Multiply it by the RGB. And plug that into the base color. This should give us brightness control. There we go. Then let's add in a vector parameter. Call this Color Tint. Give it a default value of 1 on everything. Then add in another multiply node. And multiply this. Now we should also have color tinting. Yes, there we go. Now for the stuff that is just a little bit more complicated, but not that much more, don't worry about it. Go ahead and let's add in another vector parameter. Call this one tiling UV. Let's set the default of the R and the green to 1. Then add in a mask. Then what we're going to do is multiply this by the texture coordinate. I don't think it matters to change this, but I've always done it for some reason. Then we're going to add another vector parameter. Call it scroll speed. Just leave it at 0 for everything. It's fine. Or you could set a default value if you wanted to scroll at a default value when you enable it. Add another mask. Multiply it. Then just right click, look for time. And just a regular old time. Put this into the A. This into the B. Then you can already just go ahead and put an add node here. Add these two together. Let's do it like this to make it a little bit more clear. To make it more clean or whatever. Then also, let's just move this back a little bit. Just add in another constant by holding 1 and doing a left click. Change it to a parameter again. Call it rotation. Just leave it at 0. Then multiply. And then at B, add 0.002778. I don't think it actually needs to be that precise, but whatever, it works. This is so we can rotate it all the way 360. Then look for a custom rotator. Move this back just a little bit more. And then this gets plugged into the rotation angle, actually. And for the rotation center, look for a constant 2 vector. And 0.5, 0.5. And then for the UVs, you just plug in this add node and then plug it in here. Alright, let's apply that. Boom. Now let's add in just a plane. Let's just put it under here somewhere. Alright, so now we get a huge plane to test this out on. Let's go ahead and make a material instance. Go ahead and add it to the material, to the plane. Then show you real quick in the side view here. Now we can go ahead and change the tiling. So it looks a little bit more normal. Then we can also add the scrolling to make it look as if the water is kind of moving. Can change the color tint, which kind of sucks on this. And green doesn't look too bad. And that makes it look like some sludge or something. Anyways, oh yeah, also the brightness and the rotation. And don't go just yet, because I have one more thing to show you real quick. In one of the last tutorials, we made this pixelation effect. I'll link that tutorial in the top right corner right now if you're interested. It's a pixelation effect for the for a post-process effect. But what we can also do is we can add a color banding effect in here, or a color limiting effect. So let's add a scalar parameter, call it color levels. Let's just set this to either 16 or 8. Multiply it by the color of the scene texture, then floor this, add in a divide, divide it by the color levels, and then plug this into the emissive color. And nice, now we got this kind of color limiting effect. Let's go ahead and add it to our post process. Nice, there we go. That looks very nice. You could lower it even more in the material instance now if you make it. Let's put it to 8. It's even more extreme. Boom. As I said before, these don't look very nice unless you downscale them again in Unreal. But yeah, that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you learned something. Anyways, bye.